Okay, so sweet, exciting update today. Yesterday, I filmed a little vlog about this computer I got. I think I was a little excited, and the video was premature because I didn't know exactly what it was. So, long story short, I've been looking for a good video editing workstation, something that I can put a graphics card in because my laptop just isn't doing the trick. So, I went to the university surplus sale here, where basically the university sells off all of its old stuff, and I found this T7500 workstation, which is exactly the Dell workstation I've been looking for. Now these T7500s can come with single Xeons, dual Xeons, a variety of different graphics cards, and then of course there's always the possibility that someone upgraded it. So I scored this machine for $10. And then I got a couple of widescreen monitors that were missing stands, but I don't care. I'll build some stands for them. That's not a big deal for me. And DVI cables, mouse, and keyboard. And I didn't know what I was looking for RAM-wise when I was there, so I just grabbed a bunch of RAM. And so I ended up paying $42 for 17 sticks of RAM and this machine and dual monitors. So $42 into this project. So yesterday, I needed to get, none of the RAM I got was ECC. I went through and I did some research and I was looking for ECC DDR3 specifically. None of what I got was ECC. So I ended up going to a local used computer store here in town, and I said, do you have any ECC DDR3? And they're like, well, I don't know. So the guy brings out like 3 coffee cans of server memory. And so we're looking through these coffee cans together, and I finally find 2 4-gig sticks of ECC DDR3. And I found him like, okay, well, how much do you want for these? He said, usually we charge $10 per gig. $10, that's $80 for 2. I'm like, okay, I mean, he says, usually charge $10 per gig, but that doesn't seem right for these guys because we just literally dug them out of a bucket. So he's like, so let me see. And some of the memory I had gotten for $1 per stick the day before, earlier that day, was DDR3, but not ECC memory. So I told him, I was like, well, here's some DDR3 memory, not ECC. It was even like the same brand, same speed. So he was like, okay, well, I think that'll work. Let's just trade. So straight across trade for that. Totally awesome. So I ended up with this machine. I go home thinking that it's a single Xeon because I did some research on the Dell website, and from everything it looks like the specifications are a single Xeon. I get home and I'm playing around with this, and I didn't really know how these were laid out, but essentially the way that the T7500s are laid out is there's one Xeon attached to the motherboard, and then the second motherboard is on a riser that has the extra RAM slots and the extra motherboard and everything else. And so I didn't know this, and so I saw the RAM slots when I first opened up the computer that were on the riser, and I'm like, okay, so that's that. So I take out the riser and I see some more RAM slots down there. I'm like, what's going on? So take a little bit closer look. Dual Xeon. Dual quad-core Xeon T7500 workstation for $10. I'm still amazed at that. Anyway, so I only have 8 gigs of RAM for it right now. I'm thinking about upgrading the RAM, but that's a later project. So last night, I went about installing Ubuntu Studio on it, and I was doing some work on it, and the video, or my monitors kept shutting off. And the monitors are fine. It wasn't the monitors themselves. It was like they lost feed to the monitors. And the first time it happened, I was like, okay, that's a little weird. And I turned it on a second time, and it happened even faster. And I was like, that's really strange. So I turned it off for a while, did a little bit of research. I loaded a bootable flash drive with Ubuntu Studio, and plugged in the new flash drive, booted the computer, started doing the install, and about halfway through the install, probably about 3/4 of the way through the install, the monitor shut off again. I'm like, gosh, what is going on? I hope it's not something wrong with the computer, and I'm getting really disheartened. So I open it up, and I kind of start looking around. The graphics card is like 1,000,000 degrees, and the fans aren't spinning. And I was like, huh, okay. So at this point, I hadn't even looked at the graphics card because I thought that it was just like a dual DVI graphics card, because Xeons don't have onboard video processing, so you need an extra video card. So all of these ship with kind of a dual DVI video card, and it turns out that the graphics card in here is the N250 GTS, or the GTS 250, which is a CUDA card. Like, it has 128 CUDA cores, I think 1 gig of DDR3. Anyway, it's a decent video card, especially just for being included in a $10 computer. With the MSI dual Frozer cooler, and I did a little bit of research, and it turns out those fans burn out all the time, and they make noise, and they're actually horrible fans. And they were all like gunked up, and they wouldn't move. So I'm gonna go find some cheap fans today, some really dirt cheap fans, and replace them. It's probably going to be like a zip-tied hack job, because eventually I want to get a GTX 580. So I don't want to spend any money on this video card, because a GTX 580 is going to be hopefully under $100, hopefully between like $60 and $80. And then I want to get that, and maybe multiple. This computer has an 1100 watt power supply, dual Xeon 5504 processors, now 4 gigs of RAM. And it came with a RAID card. It came with a, I forgot the company. I took a picture of it. I'm going to post it online today, see if I can sell it. This computer, at the end, may end up being free and or make me money, because I'm selling all the used computer, all the used RAM and all the other parts, for basically what I've been dreaming of, which is a dual Xeon workstation that I can do rendering on. I'm so excited. These Xeons, each of these Xeons is about the same power as the processor and the i7 in the laptop I've been using, or at least on most benchmarks, they fall about the same. So I have basically gotten a computer that's about twice as powerful as the laptop I've been using, with a graphics card, and soon to be a better graphics card for basically free. I love that UNR surplus sale. I don't even understand. I don't get it. It's so good. I think it's just because, like, the T7500 is a massive case. I mean, it has to be. It's 2 CPUs, and it's all server grade gear. God, it's so good. I just used an old hard drive, by the way. I want to get an SSD for it too. So anyway, long story short, what I'm hoping to do is sell some of the extra RAM I got, sell that RAID card, because as much as I want a RAID card and I want to do something cool with the storage in this machine, I don't have the drives for it yet. B, I'm not there hardware-wise. And because this is all used hardware, I'm okay using this as like a powerhouse, just like, use and abuse this thing, because it's all server grade, so it should be good. But as far as like reliable storage, I'm just not. I want a NAS. I was about to say I want to build a NAS, but I don't want to build a NAS anymore, because from all the research I'm doing, what I'd like to do is I'd like to just buy a good NAS. I'd like to buy like a free NAS. They have like a Whisper case that uses a low power consumption Xeon processor. It pulls like 50 watts at max power, and it'll fit in a closet, and it's like, so that's the kind of storage solution I want. So with this RAID card, I don't think I really have any use for it, especially not since this machine has it has 4 SATA slots on it anyway, so I probably would only use this as like a JBOD array, or I might RAID 0 the boot drives, but I'm not, at this point, I'm not super worried about that. I think I want to keep this simple because I want it to work, and I feel like messing with RAID and all that other stuff, while it is an interesting project, it's kind of diminishing returns for what I want. Eventually I want not a RAID, but I forget what it's called. When you use free NAS, it's not RAID. It's a different kind of redundant striping thing, and it's managed a little bit better. And anyway, that's what I'm going to go with. That way I can have hot swappable drives and stuff. Man, wow, what a ramble. Anyway, long story short, I'm super excited about this. And I mentioned this yesterday. The whole reason why I've wanted another render machine, render machine, is because I want to be able to render animations in Blender. I want to be able to quickly experiment and to get better, because that's one of the things I'd like to do to make a little bit extra money, is to make intros and make commercials and kind of do that stuff. And my laptop it works, but it just takes so long. And I think one of the great parts about audio is that as you're playing it in real-time audio processing, you can play the audio and listen back as you're tweaking parameters and really connect with what you're doing. And with video, it's much harder to do that because the renders take so much longer. So having a more powerful machine is going to help so much in rendering. Yeah, it's good. So good. Anyway, I think that's the end of it. I have a video that I'm trying to post. When I filmed yesterday, without knowing anything about this machine, when I filmed this same vlog, I also mentioned that I have a really cool push 2 review coming out. And the whole reason why I had to dive into this rabbit hole was because I was trying to render a cool intro to use, because I'd like my channel to look a little bit more professional, and the Blender crashed most of the way done. I was almost done with the animation altogether, and Blender crashed, and I lost everything because I was not saving. It's my fault. It's not Blender's fault. It's not the computer's fault. But basically, at the end of it, then I was thinking, oh, well, actually, how cool would it be if I played around with this idea? And it would have taken another 3 hours to render just to see this small change in the idea I wanted. And I'm like, there needs to be a better workflow for this. And so, yeah, I've got it. I'm really excited. Anyway, so that's what's happening today, guys. Look out for that push 2 review here in the next week, because I think I'm just going to do a simple intro for now that I can edit on my laptop and render pretty quickly. And then, yeah, it'll be good. So, hey, have a great week, guys. Also, check it out on February 24th at 7:30. I will be speaking at the UNR Audio Engineering Society meetup. I'll be doing a workshop on music production, music performance, and basically answering all of the most important questions to being an artist in the modern day. So if you have questions about that, head on over to the video link there, link to questions, head on over to the AES Facebook group, and yeah, see you later.